You got to repeal and replace Obamacare. You got to do tax reform. You got to do the things that you talked about. There's some wisdom in what they're saying here. But the way this was rolled out, I know everybody's going to say we've edited it all the right way. When John Kelly at Homeland Security says he wishes that we had done it a little differently, in my view, that's a tell. It's okay; they can redo this, but they have to learn that it's you're running full bore into a buzzsaw of the Democrat resistance in the Ninth Circuit. It's probably going to distract you for a while.
Julie, President Trump, I think it's fair to say, doesn't like to lose. He suffered a major setback with the ruling by the Ninth Circuit Court. This controversy over the travel ban has obviously eaten up, you can just see from this show and all the coverage this week, an enormous amount of time and energy when, as Laura points out, there's a big agenda out there. Do you get any sense of how unhappy the president is with this development?
He's told people privately that he does not think that the rollout went well, despite what he said publicly about the strength of the order and what he said about what he feels is the national security interest of the country. If you talk to Trump supporters, people who voted for him, yes, they believe that this is part of what he promised he would do, but they are more focused on Obamacare. They are more focused on jobs and the economy, and Trump knows that. And I think he is going to want to shift his administration's focus to those issues, which frankly are going to be even more difficult to implement than some of what we've seen on this executive order.
Michael.
Well, that may be true, but the courts are wrong in this system, and that in this instance that's his support. This is an instance of the president at the apex of his political power. He has statutory power given to him by Congress. He has constitutional power, and we want the presidency running the national security. What do these judges in San Francisco, what information do they have from classified briefings that they've gotten about the national security threats that our nation
faces? But judges have done this before. The Supreme Court, again, not saying it's right or wrong, in the Boumediene case, they slapped down President Bush's ability to handle detainees at Guantanamo.
Sure, courts have a right, but when we come to immigration policy, it is very clear, as Stephen Miller said, that statutorily the President of the United States has the ability, whenever he wants, to restrict the people coming into this country as he sees necessary. On top of that, he has through the Constitution.
So do you think he should double down on this, or do you think he should
I think that it is urgent for the national security of the United States. That I think he's probably this week going to do something to make sure that there's security measures put into place. It is urgent for the national security of the United States, however, that the principle is reaffirmed that it is the executive branch which has the information, it is the executive branch that holds the meetings to think about trade-offs, and it's the executive branch, by the way, that is held accountable at the polls, not the judiciary. And it is urgent for the national security of the United States that we reaffirm that the executive is at the apex of its and its power.
What if it goes the other way? What if the court actually circumscribes executive power, and we have precedent on the books that is deleterious to the separation of powers because maybe we rushed in before we had an attorney general and a solicitor general? Then you're going to have precedent on the books that's going to be a big albatross around the executive.
The American people are losing confidence in our nation's institutions is that we have courts that have now decided that they want to. It is urgent for our national security that it be reaffirmed that the executive branch
It'll be a disastrous precedent. I clerked on the Second Circuit. The Second Circuit probably wouldn't have done this. The Supreme Court, try to predict what Anthony Kennedy is going to do on executive power. Good luck.
Juan?